Panels expose numerous useful features in Flash Professional for organized access. This lesson has a look at some of the more useful of these panels. So here we have Flash Professional CS6, and by default in the Essentials workspace, you basically have the Properties panel and the Library panel expanded. All of the other panels that are open are going to be collapsed, and you can of course expand or collapse any of these panels through these little arrows here. So if I wanted to collapse our Properties panel, I could click these arrows and they would collapse down to icons with a little bit of text near them. If I wanted to further reduce the screen real estate that they were taking up, I can drag these panels out like this. And the same thing with this strip of panels here. If I expand this, out they come. And you can see that these are very adaptable. So we're able to set up Flash Professional exactly as we want it. So what happens if we need some panels that aren't here? Like we can see here we've got color, swatches, alignment, info, transform, etc. But perhaps we want another panel. Well, all the panels can be accessed from the Windows menu in the application menu bar. So you just click on Window, and you go down here, and let's say perhaps we want to open, let's go down to Other Panels here. Maybe we want to actually open up our History panel. So here's our History panel. And the History panel allows us to go back in time and sort of undo and redo in a very visual way. So I've got this panel right now, and by default it's a floating panel, which means I can grab it by the top here and move it around the application. If I want to close it, I can click this little X, but then I'd have to go back to the Window menu and find it again if I wanted to use it. So what if I just want this docked like all these other panels? It's actually very, very simple to do so. I can just grab it and move it over to the side like this. And you can see how we get this little blue line that appears. If I release the panel, you can see it snaps to this particular column. So now I can open and close it just like any of those other panels. If I expand this, my History panel will also expand. So right now the History panel is on its own. It's in its own little space. It's not grouped like, say, the Code Snippets, Components, and Motion Presets panels are. They're all in a group together, and if I collapse this, you can see that visually they're also grouped. So what if I want to do that to the History panel? I can grab the specific tab that says History right there, and then I can move it between any of these panels. So maybe I want to group the History panel along with my Project panel. So all I need to do is drop it there, and we can see that I have the History panel and the Project panel both grouped together in this little panel set. If I want to drag it back out, I can do that, re-expand, move it somewhere else, and you can also dock it to new columns. So you see here, I actually grabbed it and placed it somewhere else. And anywhere you can drop it, you're going to get this little shadow effect with a blue line. So I could even move that down into my timeline area if I want. So I can switch between my timeline, motion editor, and History panel. And again, if I want to close it, just click the X. So this has been an example of how to manage panels in Flash Professional CS6.